Hey guys and gals, Undead12335. Wanted to talk a little bit today about the state of Destiny 2's PvP as a whole. A lot of you may know that follow certain PvP figures on Twitter and stuff like that, and on social media. They basically had a meltdown the other day. I don't see it as a meltdown. I see it as a pissed off player base crying out and saying, look, you need to address this. We feel ignored. And that's exactly what they did. They were so pissed off and we're talking about Bungie so much, they had Bungie trending on Twitter. And you know what's funny? Bungie is radio silent like they always are. DMG came back from vacation yesterday, and did he say, all right, hey, we heard you, we're gonna look into this. What was his first thought? Oh, welcome back. First problem, Shatter Die. We're gonna work on Shatter Die, but what we're really gonna do is Crimson, we're going to nerf the range 15%, nerf 10% damage. We're going to make it so the shotguns have 15% more range and you slide faster now. And, you know, by the way, all those hand cannons you enjoy using, you know what? We're getting them a 50% range buff and they're going to be a 2-tap to the body. That's basically what they do. Anytime they hear feedback, Bungie does what Bungie wants to do. They don't care about your opinion. And the moment that you understand that, that's the moment that everyone will be happy in this game. Bungie knows at this point, regardless of PvE or PvP, they can put out any crap that they want to, and people will still play it regardless. Look at Beyond Light. I'll be honest, I guarantee you this DLC is not selling as well as they thought. And it's bad. The game is in a bad state right now, and we're going to talk about PvP first, and then I'll move into that. PvP has not been updated in over 2 years. The last update that it got was honestly freelance playlists, and that's not even an update. I don't count that as an update. Iron Banner hasn't been updated since the game released. You guys released a handful of crappy new weapons that are reskins of other stuff we've already had. I mean, one of the Shining Spear is literally a reskin of a Husgal. Like, who is this for? The Forward Path is the same model as an origin story. Or a foregone conclusion. And stuff like that. There's so much reused, and so many reused assets. In Destiny 1, we got new weapon models every year. We were getting new weapon models. In this, we don't. We haven't seen anything new since Forsaken. I'm really getting tired of it. With this last update as well of Beyond Light, you guys removed over 11 PvP maps out of this game. You also removed most of the modes. Clash is now a rotating playlist. It's never a static playlist. What game does not have TDM as a static mode for the multiplayer side of things? Seriously. Get rid of Rumble. No one plays it. Control has been the same since D1. There's no change to it. It's basically just TDM with flags. Control, blah. Mayhem, almost no one plays it except whenever they're trying to do their super ability stuff quickly. And with Stasis right now in that playlist, it's absolute cancer. No one plays comp in this mode anymore because there's nothing to grind for in comp. You guys took away all the pinnacle weapons. Yeah, PvP feels a little ignored. You guys have had no PvP vendor refreshes. There's nothing new to grind for in the Crucible itself. The only new weapon you've added is the Stars and Shadow. And that's one gun you've added to the loot pool in 2 years. And it's a mediocre gun at best unless you get an absolute god roll on it. And then it absolutely shreds. Yeah, they feel a little neglected. All those weapons that they spent hundreds of hours for some people grinding to get, such as the Mountaintop. The Recluse actually wasn't that bad to get. The Mountaintop, the Recluse, Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten. All this stuff, trying to get their stuff, themselves up every week in competitive, struggling against the top % of the game, trying to get Not Forgotten. One of the hardest grinds in this game. And what do? You put it in a vendor for little Timmy No Thumbs to come and scoop up if he has some legendary shards and Glimmer. Do you not see the disconnect here? And if you're playing this game right now and you're saying, oh, that's okay, it's fine. They nerfed them, they sunset them. It's not the point. The point is they invalidated every single bit of time we spent on this game doing this. I spent months on that mountaintop quest, and I was about to complete it, and what do? They add it for free so anyone can have it. Like, really? It blows my mind that Luke Smith is this dumb about things. And I mean that with every hurtful word I just said. Because the neckbeard is spending so much time playing World of Warcraft, he doesn't even know what his own game is anymore. Bungie, for a while, they were calling this game everything but an MMO. It was an action RPG. It was a shared world shooter. It was a first-person shooter with abilities. And then they started calling it an MMO. This game will never be an MMO. Let me make that perfectly clear. Just because you add world events that you rip from World of Warcraft, world bosses, strikes, dungeons, and raids, this will never be an MMO. It is a first-person shooter action game. There's nothing RPG about it. You guys are trying to sprinkle a little bit of RPG elements in there with the fragments and stuff like that on your classes, but that's about it. There's only two good options for these. Do you not see the disconnect from your player base? And at least with PvE, they're getting something. With PvP, we get nothing. I went and played Iron Banner for like 5 hours yesterday trying to do my bounties. I almost cried. It's that painful to play against stacked teams constantly who are mercy ruling you within the first 2 minutes of the game. Against people who are popping their super over and over and over again, running against full teams of Seraph Shotgun and True Prophecy and stuff like that. It's not a fun experience. You guys, and another thing too with the PvP, if something's too good in PvE, you nerf it and it ruins it for PvP. And if something's too good in PvP, you nerf it and it ruins it for PvE. There's a disconnect because you guys don't want to do separate sandboxes. Call of Duty Warzone did a separate sandbox change for one of their guns. In Cold War, a gun does a particular damage model. In Warzone, it does something completely different because they balanced it around a battle royale. They understand how to do separate sandboxes, yet the company that's been banging out games since the late 90s cannot figure out how to do a shared sandbox, or a separate sandbox rather, in their game. That honestly astounds me. With PvP, you've removed all want to grind this. There's no loot incentive. There's no new armor aside from the color reskins that you guys add constantly. The bounties they suck. Shaxx has been spitting out the same crap since year one. I'm still getting better devils. Why? And play the game. In Destiny 1, whenever I go to play Crucible just in general, I could play that all day long. All day. Because there was a chance of me getting good stuff. Whatever happened to my Party Crasher or Conspiracy Theory or my Hopscotch Pilgrim, Palindrome, what else? Hawksaw. There were literally like 20 plus designated guns just for Crucible that would drop after the completion of a match. Now all I get is 4 to 5 blues and a Stars and Shadow maybe. There is nothing new added with the PvP side of this game, so what's the point of farming it? Like, I'm trying to understand, but it's so freaking hard too. Bungie makes it so easy to hate them when they do stuff like this. And with the way that they did the other day, it is complete radio silence. Some of your biggest names in this game are leaving it. Imtashed, Hush, Astacross, Rick Caucus, Datto. They're all pissed off at you because you ignore them for PvE. And even on PvE side, there's almost nothing. And I understand that people are saying, oh, Destiny is primarily a PvE game. It's not the point. When 40% of your player base makes up a game, you need to learn to listen to them too. Trials carries this game's Crucible on the weekends. It does. There were 250,000 players that played last week in Trials. anytime the Astral Horizon is up or the Summoner, you got the Crucible swells when it comes to trials numbers. Strictly for that. And just, I mean, really, there's nothing to go for when it comes to this side of the game. And with the way your sandbox is balanced as well, it's not surprising that no one wants to go in there. Right now, it is nothing more than absolutely broken Behemoth Titans and Revenant Hunters. Stasis screwed everything up when it came to this game's PvP mode. It broke the game. And I'm going to basically get up on my little soapbox here, because back before these abilities even launched into the game, I even said, yes, this is going to break the game. They look like they're going to be overpowered, stopping and slowing enemies. No one wants this. And what happened? Everyone hates them. And they are still, to this day, a month and a half later, still broken. Is it really that hard to balance the game once in every 9 months? Or instead of saying, oh, we'll have changes coming next season. Not, oh, we'll fix it. We're sorry it's broken. We know it's frustrating. Next season. They're waiting for people to... They're literally... I guarantee you, these guys are paying their bills like paycheck to paycheck. They only pretty much release a game update after a DLC. They wait for pre-order money to roll in to use for their update to pay for it. Do you not see what I'm getting at here? Or they wait till the start of the next season for people to buy it to get the money to actually push it out. Dude, World of Warcraft has been around for 15 plus years for many different reasons, and one of them is they update their game weekly. They push out content weekly. And speaking of that, on pushing out content, this pandemic did not cause them to push out a half-done DLC. They could not push out properly done content before this. You remember Shadowkeep? It was empty. There's nothing there. You guys charged $40 for a DLC that took away more than it gave. You sunset 60+% of the game. No wonder people are pissed off and upset. You can't treat your player base like this and expect us to take it. But the thing with Bungie is they know we will. They could literally not touch this game for years and people will still play it because Destiny will stand the test of time because it's free to play. Free to play absolutely ruined this game. It really did. And it doesn't help any that there's nothing for free to play players to do. A good friend of mine that I've mentioned who wants to play Destiny with me, I told her, unless you have those DLCs, you can't do anything. Like, if you're a free-to-play player, they've removed most of the planets. You can't even play the story missions. All you can do is patrol endlessly and maybe play Crucible. That's all you get to do if you're a free-to-play player. So you get screwed. Like, really. And just... I'm trying not to go off on a rant, but it's just... It astounds me that there has been this little update for this game. Strikes and stuff like that. In Destiny 1, we had plenty of strikes. We had strike-specific loot. We had strike playlist-specific loot that we could grind for. In this game, there's none of that. You added one new gun, the Xenoclast, which is a reskin of a Conspiracy Theory D from Destiny 1. It is a reskin. You reused a gun model. That's awesome, man. Like, and if you look closely too, most of the gun models that are in this game that are updated for the new DLCs, they're reused. There's no reason to play this game's Crucible or no reason to basically play the game because it will not value your time. That is what I've been talking about for a long time. Every time I criticize Bungie in one of their videos, I say the same thing. They do not respect your time. All of this stuff, you spent months grinding for guns and stuff like that to basically have it taken away. They say that sunsetting as well is another part of this game, which is why a lot of the PvP crowd is not happy because they've taken away most of the guns. Even though they are usable in that, and the competitive modes and higher tier modes, they're not usable because you guys sunset most of them. And the excuse behind it was, we're seeing a cycle of players using the same stuff over and over and over again, and we're going to keep the game fresh. Who are you to dictate what I use? Like, for real. And the reason I use the same stuff over and over and over again is, well, I don't know, it took me 6 months to get a decent roll on it, and I'm going to use it to my heart's content, but Bungie said, nope. You're going to use what we want you to use. Like, I really am just astounded that they're getting away with this. It took me months to get a decent roll on my Bygones. And when I finally got it, I've used the crap out of it. I've got a couple thousand kills with it in Crucible. I love it. It took me forever to get a decent roll on a hand cannon in here that I'm comfortable with because I suck with them. And you invalidate it by sunsetting it. Every bit of that time has been just stripped away. And you know something else? We might use something different if your weapon design team and you as a director would say, look, make something better. Stop using reskins. Make something better. Shadowkeep, say what you will. It had some of the best looking gun models in this game. The whole Eris Morn with like the prayer beads and like the feathers and stuff stuck into it. It looked really cool. It looked haunted and just tribal. It was cool looking. Then you released, with this DLC, a set of weapons that looked like they came out of a Crayola factory. And they're some of the worst guns in the game. There's no incentive to want to use anything different. So sunsetting pisses us off. And there's also no incentive to want to grind either, because every time you get a gun, in bright red letters right there, it has a time clock that starts ticking down from 365 days. And says in exactly 1 year, this gun will be rendered irrelevant. Have fun! What's the incentive to want to grind? Why would I want to grind for a Pinnacle weapon in the Crucible when I know it's going to go away in 6 months? To try to keep your game fresh. Do you not understand how much time people spend in this game? And all of it is rendered null and void when you do this to your player base? Bungie is so adamant on dictating how their player base plays their game. And I'm going to quote Aztecross, it's not your game, it's our game. We run this game. We're the only reason it exists. And if you're unhappy with that, you need to move on from Bungie. But that's it for now, guys. If you enjoyed this, a like and sub would be appreciated. Stay safe in these trying times, and don't do anything stupid. And I will see y'all later. Peace out.